you guys? How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Before I even get started, let me know if you can hear me. Hopefully the internet's going to cooperate with us. It seems to be working pretty good. So anyways, you guys, first and foremost, before I even say hello, I just want to tell you, most times I don't like giving trigger warnings with true crime. Of course, it's going to be tough stuff to discuss. This one, though, it needs it. It is necessary. It's just especially heartbreaking and hard to hear. But there are some details that I would like to go over with you guys. Some things that, okay, let me go back a little bit. Most of you probably know that Chad Doerman recently took a plea deal and has been sent to prison. I do have a new article regarding that with a video that we might play before we get started. When he took this plea deal, the prosecutors did a press conference and they walked us through a PowerPoint presentation. During that presentation, I streamed it, but I took it down. But during that presentation, I had reached out because I had been in contact previously getting records requests from Claremont County, Ohio, which is where this happened. And I did another request and they sent me the presentation. Now, I'm not going to play the full 911 call. I will play the beginning, which is kind of what they played during their presentation. And there is a part in this that isn't very loud. And if we have trouble hearing, I have pulled it up another way so that we can hear. It's going to be tough, but there is a lot of information that was previously unknown that I think that we should discuss. So let me say hello to you guys and we'll get right into it. Also, if you missed, we were on earlier. I don't think YouTube will notify multiple streams in a day. Maybe they will. But we were on earlier talking about Letitia's lawsuit because the judge filed an order. And I'll have you guys know that Lil Red actually has already updated me and Letitia has already responded. So we're going to get through the rest of this order that we started today so we can get to her response within the coming days. So that's the plan. Okay, let me say hello to you guys. Hey, MK, I saw you say that this happened kind of close to you. What the heck? There we go. Hey, Nature Rocks. Hey, Pointer Lover. Dave G. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Olivia. Lariah. Neat Noodle. Nanine. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Kathy. Sarah. Sound is great. Awesome. Hey, Queen Bella. Thank you, Lariah. Thank you guys for letting me know it sounds okay. Hey, Carolina. That's right. I wasn't going to miss this live stream after all my hard work puppy-proofing our humble abode. Aw, new puppy. That's exciting, Carolina. Okay. I feel terrible for the mom. Her cry in the body cam footage was heartbreaking. Well, and there's going to be some more of that in this. And it's very tough to hear. I'm not going to play it all because, and it's written out very clearly in the presentation. You can hear one of the boys taking their last breaths during the second half of the call. And it is just, oh my gosh, I meant to put a video out showing the presentation a few days ago. And while I was recording, I wasn't expecting that. And I just ended it, deleted the video, and had to think on it for a little bit of how exactly I wanted to do this. Okay. Hey, Justice Jane. Let's see. Like 20 minutes away. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Of course, she has already responded. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Hi, Family Gal. I don't make your lives usually, so I thought I'd take the time to say hello, and you're amazing. Oh, thank you. That's super sweet, and thank you for being here. I'm glad that you're here. Hey, just Emmy. Okay, so we're going to get started. Let's pull up this article first that will I think that it will help, and it will explain kind of what's going on, and then we'll move into the presentation. Let me just play the video. Let me know if there's any issues with the playback because I'll switch to a different internet if necessary. I think, though,
we have breaking news right now. Chad Doerman The man convicted of killing his 3 sons is now in the Ohio prison system.
Jessica Schmidt is at the alert desk with an update. Jessica, we were talking off camera about the amount of sound we have.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of which we haven't even put on the air yet.
Yeah, we do have some new stuff we're about to show you now that is actually from while he was in the Claremont County Jail. So we will get to that in just a minute. Chad Dorman, though, we can tell you, was just transferred into the Ohio prison system, of course, from the Claremont County Jail. This comes just days after pleading guilty to murdering his 3 young sons. Dorman is believed to be responsible for the deaths of 3-year-old Chase, 4-year-old Hunter, and 7-year-old Clay.
Look at the new mugshot, Chad Dorman serving life in prison for murder. I'm glad that this is the way that it happened. Mom and her daughter didn't need to live through a trial. They didn't want to, and this was what they wanted. So I feel like then that's the best thing to happen. Plus, we know that he was playing all these games. He wanted his confession thrown out, which it did get thrown out because the cops didn't do things correctly. If you guys remember that, it's been a journey already. He was trying to do a similar to a not guilty by reason of insanity. So I'm glad that it happened like this.
In Claremont County in June of last year. Now, Dorman is one step closer to his permanent prison cell. This is his new mugshot you're looking at here, taken at the Correctional Reception Center where he is right now. Dorman will be there for several days getting processed. That includes things like getting his fingerprints, checking his physical and mental health, and figuring out his intelligence level. Prison officials.
Remember, we found out Letitia was illiterate when she was processed into prison, and it will be interesting to see if we can get his files. Okay, so that's basically the gist of what I wanted you guys to see. So now I'm going to stop sharing, and like I said, one last time, I'm going to warn you guys, this is super tough to take in. It just is. So I understand if it's too much for you. Let me show a couple pictures of the boys first, though. Look at these babies. If you go through and you try to find pictures of these boys in almost every single photo, they are smiling and laughing. They were happy, healthy, perfect little boys. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Look at them. I mean, look how happy, just the laughing. It makes it, I just don't understand how you could ever do what he's done. And yeah, I just don't get it. So there's the new mugshot, head shape, all the things going into prison. Hold on one second. Okay, I do apologize, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me get our presentation pulled up. Okay. All right, you guys. So we're going to have to share the screen a different way for us to hear the audio from the presentation. That's just going to look a little bit different, but hey, Wolfie. Oh, Queen Bella, thank you for rejoining. Oh my gosh, you guys, I apologize. Of course, when you are busy, your teenager needs this or that or whatever. It's okay. It is what it is. I just don't like to mix the kids with this stuff. So that's why the awkward pauses and silence and all that stuff. But okay. Hey, Lori. So here we are. This is the presentation. This is how it comes. I had to subscribe to or get a membership with Microsoft 365 to be able to work it and play the audios off of it. But this is actually what the prosecutor was showing us during the press conference. Okay, so slide 1. We're just going to go through State of Ohio versus Chad Dorman. Warning, this presentation contains audio, video, and photographs that may be too graphic for some viewers. June 2023, Dowerman family. We have Chad Dowerman, Laura Dowerman, Alexis, who was 14, Clayton, who was 7, Hunter, who was 4, and Chase, who was 3. Alexis is an outstanding student and an up-and-coming softball star in the area. Clayton, Hunter, and Chase are all happy, active boys. The boys love baseball, monster trucks, fishing, and go-karting on their property with their sister. Another part of this that just was so bewildering was when we heard the victim impact statements, knowing that Chad was doing all this stuff with these boys, and I'm really curious after we get through some of this, what you guys think as far as mental illness or kind of what brought this on. Because there are some things that stand out to me that are just odd. So Chad worked full-time as a member of the Insulators Union while Laura stayed home with the boys and homeschooled Clayton. Prior to June of 2023, there were no police reports regarding any domestic disturbances at the 1965 Laurel Lindell residence. For all intents and purposes, to the outside world, the family appeared to be happy. All just babies. Yep, they really were. Okay. The defendant, so it goes back to June 10th, 2023. The defendant takes the boys to races at the local dirt track to have a boys' day. He encourages his wife and stepdaughter to go shopping and spend time together. The defendant reported no issues sleeping that night. So it's full screen on PowerPoint. How do I do that? Reading view, slideshow. I'm not sure how to do that, Doug Nasty. I can do this though, and this will help some. There we go. Is that what you mean? Sorry about that. Okay, so June 10th, they have the boys' day. Everything appears to be fine. Now we have June 11th. The defendant takes the boys fishing. There were no reports of any abnormal behavior from the defendant on this day. The defendant provides conflicting statements about whether he slept Sunday night. June 12th, 2023. The defendant goes to work Monday morning as usual. The defendant's coworkers do not report anything abnormal in the defendant's behavior. The defendant gave conflicting statements about whether he slept or whether he, quote, didn't sleep too good, unquote. Carolina says, it's absolutely sad. I was online this morning and saw many pictures of all of them together, and they all seem normal, like a very loving, bonded family. Hey, Brandy. Kimberly says, in all the photos I have seen of him, his face and eyes look vacant. Okay. There we go. Tuesday, June the 13th. The defendant went to work as usual Tuesday morning. After work, the defendant returned home and worked on his vehicle's headlights. The defendant gave conflicting statements about whether he slept Tuesday night, but eventually indicates he, quote, didn't sleep too good either that night, maybe just a few hours. Then we are on to June 14th. This is the day before the crime. Hey, Mystery. Hey, Lynn. Wednesday morning, the defendant wakes his stepdaughter before he leaves for work. He tells her he loves her and apologizes for, quote, whatever I've done to you and for anything I've done to hurt you. Then he goes to work that morning as usual, and coworkers report no abnormal behavior from the defendant. And I would think that if you're truly insane, people around you are going to notice, and not just little things like you saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry for anything I've done to you," and things like that, because you're going to hear that again in a moment. Hey, beach lover. On the evening of June 14th, the defendant went to and coached Clayton's baseball game. The entire family went to the baseball game and believed, other than being distracted, the defendant was acting normally. The defendant gave multiple reports that he couldn't sleep at all that night. So he coached the team as well, not just a big part in doing these activities with them, but coaching. Hey, Trulia. I know, it's awful. And I'm going to warn you guys again, if you're just coming in, this is going to be tough. I'm not going to play all of the audios that are here. I'll play some of it, and I'll explain further again as we get there. But regardless, it's just, even without playing them in full, it's still really tough stuff. So June the 15th, 2023. The defendant got up and went to work, arriving at approximately 7 a.m. On his way into work, the defendant searches YouTube for a song titled Happy in Hell by Colt Ford. And then they put in like a little clip of his searches here. And then they put the lyrics to the song, which I'll read those to you guys. Between happy and hell, that's where I'm living now. I really want to love her, but I just don't think I know how. Can't give her everything she needs. Can I give her everything I want? Will it be about what I do? Will it be about what I don't? Will it be about what is right? Forget about what is wrong. Will she love the man I am or the man that sings this damn song? Don't know if I'll ever know the truth. It might not ever show. But if I never tell the truth, then will she ever know? Am I her shining light or just her darkest day? I wonder if she'll leave. Hell, I wonder if she'll stay. Oh God, I'm so confused. Is it a lie or truth? I'm in the crossroads. Tell me which one to choose. Is there a right or wrong? It's getting hard to tell. I need to know the price, and sure, I'd buy or sell. God, I really love her, but should I ever tell? I guess I'll just live here between happy and hell. So he specifically, I wanted to see if he specifically searched for the lyrics or just the song, which it was just the song. So I corrected myself along the way. Let me just chat with you guys for a minute and see what you think about that. Just Emmy says he took the girls out, started the Bible with our son. Odd things. He's been in. Oh my gosh, Just Emmy, I'm so sorry that you've been through that and experienced that. Lariah says, the way I think of it is there are monsters in the world that we can't do anything about sometimes except to be there and help each other pick up the broken people they leave behind. I know, it's awful, Mystery, and it's absolutely awful. Hey, Sprinkled Donut. Reminds me of Chris Watts too, Tony. I kind of get that as well, because he's like this dad who's very active in their lives, and nobody really saw it coming. Sure, there's no mistress element, but in some ways it does put you in the mind of Chris Watts. Okay, so Thursday, June 15th. While at work that morning, the defendant's boss noticed nothing abnormal about his behavior. He leaves work at approximately 9:30 a.m. and proceeds to Kroger off of Beachmont and 5 Mile. At 9:42 a.m., he arrives at Kroger. At 9:44, he enters Kroger. He is in the vitamin and supplement aisle. He walks over to the little clinic, and then he exits Kroger. Now, they do put video footage of this, and, there's nothing really to see on it, but I will play some of it just so we can kind of get an idea for his demeanor and that kind of thing. So you see him there walking in. Do you think these men do this because they're starving for attention? James Blonde, I don't know. If that was the case, I would expect to see like other attention-seeking behaviors prior to this, and I'm definitely no, psychologist or anything like that. But that just would be like what I would expect, because it's pretty drastic. If it was for attention, I'm not really sure. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think if he's just pure evil, selfish, sick. I just don't know. Okay, so Thursday, June 15th, the defendant then leaves and heads home. On the way home, the defendant stops and buys a 16-ounce Bud Light. Once at home, the defendant goes out to the shed. As he is near the shed, his family arrive home from errands. The boys run to the defendant to say hello. The defendant spends some time playing with the boys while his wife makes lunch. While eating lunch, the defendant tells his wife that this will be his last good meal. This comment, along with other similar comments, led his wife to believe that the defendant was contemplating suicide. This is one of the comments that makes me wonder just, what was going on in his head. All of this leading up to what happens here. So let me continue for a moment. Then we have at 12:50 p.m., the defendant calls his father and makes the statement that, quote, Clayton is going to be the hardest, unquote. We know Clayton was the oldest. He was 7 years old. And we also know that his father spoke out with media right after this happened and basically said that he thought that he had lost his mind. I don't remember his exact words. Those are my words, but so from 12:55 to 3:30 p.m., the defendant then spends the afternoon doing yard work and playing with the kids. From 3:30 to 3:45, the defendant begins to read the Bible to Hunter. So that's another thing that's like the Bible. 3:55 p.m., the defendant is walking around with the Bible, mumbling, Chad knows what's right. So talking to himself, saying, Chad knows what's right. Chad knows what's right. James Blonde, I don't know. Maybe. I feel like if you were contemplating taking your own life, then you would be thinking about like what happens after you die and that kind of stuff. What do you guys think? And do you think do you think that he was sick? Mystery says, I came across an Idaho case that did the same damn thing. Jeremy Best, not sure when his trial will be, but oh my gosh, yes. I followed that one and covered it some too. He's the one who was, naked down at the store. And oh my gosh, yeah. Hey, Emily. Jeremy Best was baby Zeke, and why is her name like escaping me at the moment? Callie Randall Best. Okay, so back to this. Sorry, you guys. So 3:55, he's walking around with the Bible saying, Chad knows what's right. 3:57 to 3:59, the defendant gets into the gun safe, leaving it unlocked. His wife tells him he's scaring her, and he responds, I'm just playing around. So that right there, I'm just playing around. It's almost like he was like covering his tracks as he went, like keeping her, I don't know, calm. Sorry for the sidebar. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. Then at 4 p.m., the defendant continuously tells the boys he loves them and they did nothing wrong and that they are the best boys ever. Music City, Mom, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about church one way or the other. We do have the Bible stuff here, but really, I think that's about all that I've. And it could be escaping me because, yeah, I don't know. I consume so much stuff that it doesn't all stick. From 4 to 4:15, the defendant, his wife, and all 3 boys go into the master bedroom. After initially lying in the bed, the defendant jumps up and grabs a rifle from the safe. At that point, the entire family is in the bedroom and is convinced the defendant was going to kill himself. From 4 to 4:15, the family tells the defendant they love him and beg him not to kill himself. Laura takes out her phone and tells him she's going to call 911. The defendant grabs her phone from her and tells her it's too late and throws her phone. From 4 to 4:15, the defendant then aims, and trigger warning again, you guys, the defendant then aims the firearm and shoots at Hunter, striking him multiple times as he tried to flee. Laura screams at the other children to run while she tries to render aid to Hunter and call 911. Hunter had been shot in the right arm, right torso, and stomach area, and twice in the right side of his head. At 4:16 p.m., the first 911 call is made. So this is where I stopped previously, and I'm torn. I know that they did show this during the press conference. They didn't play it all. I certainly wouldn't play it all. I think that I'm just going to, maybe I should play the beginning like they did in the press conference. You guys let me know, though, what you think in the chat. I'm just curious because it is absolutely horrific. And I'm going to tell you, I said this at the beginning, but Laura must have laid her phone down with it on an open line to 911. And she's trying to save the other children, but it's next to Hunter, and you can hear him take his last breaths. And it is so disturbing to hear. I just could never put that out. Yeah, I think that what we'll do is we're just going to continue and we're going to play the other audios from his interviews and phone calls. And, I can record these and have them on my Patreon, not for money, though. I'll put it on the free tier. There's no way that I would put it behind a paywall, and then if people are curious, they can hear. Like I said, it was played in the press conference. You guys could also watch that and hear a lot of it. So let's just continue. So from 4:16 to 4:21, while Laura is calling 911, fighting with the defendant, and Hunter is taking his last breaths, Clayton and Alexis flee out the back door of the house. Laura carries Hunter outside and attempts to render life-saving measures. Meanwhile, Clayton flees into a field behind the house while the defendant pursues him. Alexis witnesses the defendant stop and take aim at Clayton. The defendant shoots Clayton from a distance, knocking him to the ground. Yeah, I think it's just best not to play it. People can hear it on what I was going to play anyways in the press conference. And yeah, that's just the decision that I'm making on the fly, and that's what we're going to do. So, okay, let's continue. So, Clayton and Alexis flee out the back door. Mom has Hunter and is trying to render life-saving measures. Clayton takes off into a field, and Chad begins to chase him. Alexis sees Chad stop and take aim at Clayton, where he knocks him to the ground from a distance. Alexis then witnesses the defendant approach Clayton, point the rifle down at him, and fire multiple times. Clayton was shot in the left arm, the back, and twice in the head. Clayton was 7 years old. After witnessing the defendant execute Clayton, Alexis turns and runs back into the house to grab Chase. She then takes Chase in her arms and flees the residence and begins to run with Chase. So, Chase is the 3-year-old, and Alexis is trying to run and get them both out of there. Now, this was caught on the neighbor's Ring doorbell camera. You can hear Alexis asking him, begging him not to shoot her. It says, as Alexis flees with Clayton, the defendant hunts her down, stopping her and holding her at gunpoint. Ring cameras from a nearby neighbor capture Alexis begging him not to shoot her. And this one I'm also not going to play as well. I'm sorry, you guys, if you really wanted to hear it, but I don't want to, because it is footage of this event straight up. You can't see anything, but you can hear it. I just think that it's not appropriate. That's just where I'm at. All right, let's keep going. So while the defendant was holding Alexis at gunpoint, he ordered her to put Chase down. She sets Chase down, and he runs to the trash cans in the driveway and attempts to hide from Chad. Alexis runs to a nearby firehouse to attempt to get help. While Chase hid, Laura physically fought with the defendant and attempted to take the firearm from him. So this is when Laura gets shot. During the fight, Laura placed her thumb over the barrel of the gun, and the defendant shot her in an attempt to get her to release the firearm. Thank you guys for everything. Just for being here and being understanding and all that stuff. I really appreciate it. Okay. While the defendant was holding Alexis at gunpoint, he ordered her to put Chase down. Chase runs to the trash cans and attempts to hide. Alexis runs to... Oh, wait, I'm rereading the same one. I'm like, wait, are they repeating that for some reason? I'm sorry, you guys. So after shooting Laura, Chad turns to Chase and attempts to execute him, but the firearm jams. The defendant attempts to clear the firearm multiple times in the driveway. Despite being shot, Laura grabs Chase and begins to flee with him. The defendant, however, also grabs onto Chase, struggles to tear the child away from Laura, even biting Laura to get her to let Chase go. Even biting her to get her to let him go. It's like he was absolutely desperate to do this. Oh my God, I can't stand him. It makes me so angry. The struggle between Laura and the defendant continues into the house. Chase is put down while the two continue to fight. The defendant goes into the gun safe and attempts to reload the firearm. Laura continues to fight with the defendant, even slamming his hand into the safe. The defendant is able to fight off Laura and returns outside, where he executes Chase, shooting the child once in the head. After the defendant hunted down and executed the 3 boys, he goes to the field and picks up Clayton, throwing him over his shoulder. He carries Clayton to the yard and lies him next to Hunter. He then brings Chase over and lies him next to his brothers. And this is why in the body cam footage, he can be seen with the blood stain on the back of his shirt. Oh, thank you, Jane's Blonde. I appreciate that. Thank you. Mystery, so glad you're not replaying the horrific sounds. Just the description alone is triggering. Yeah, it absolutely is. Cannot unhear those sounds. Yeah, and you can find them, if that's, it's just not necessary for our conversation. There are some things, though, I do want you to hear. We're getting ready to get to it. So, remember, when the police pull up, he's sitting on the steps with the cigarette. Right here. And this is how he laid them all next to each other. Hunter, Clayton, and then Chase. 4:21, 5 minutes after the first call, Laura makes a second 911 call. At 4:26, Deputy Seth Sparks and Chad Popham with the Claremont County Sheriffs arrive on scene and, without regard for their own safety, proceed to take the defendant into custody. When the defendant is placed in handcuffs by the deputies, Clayton's blood can be seen on the back of his shirt where he carried the boy from the field. At first, responders begin to render life-saving measures on each of the boys. The location of the children changes. Deputy Sparks carries Chase to the end of the driveway, where he performs CPR on the child. EMS carry Hunter to an ambulance where life-saving measures were performed. These are ultimately the positions of the children when they are pronounced deceased. Now, remember, and when you see him being taken to the cop car in the body cam footage, there is a moment where he walks by one of the boys. So that was Chase, who was at the end of the driveway at that point. So we have Chad on these steps here. Clayton right by the steps. He's just lying there. I mean, oh my God, it's just so infuriating, and it's so hard to understand. Just calm as can be, having his fucking cigarette. Excuse my language. Hunter's taken to this ambulance, Chase down here, and Clayton up by the house. Hey, Harlot, those first responders will never be the same. Thank God for those men and women. But also, I cannot imagine how this would affect you. It affects us. Just having the discussion and showing what's happened and not even showing everything. It affects us so much. I think that it's important to have the discussions because this is the way it is. Like, this is the truth. These are the facts. It's not pretty, but it is what happened. And the story deserves to be told honestly, you know? So while first responders tend to the boys, the defendant was secured by Deputy Scott Rudd in the back of a cruiser. When in the cruiser, the defendant made various statements such as, "Tell them I did it, take me to jail." Let's see what they have here. I don't know if we'll even be able to hear it because I have another way for that. Did you hear it? I heard it. It's so hard to hear. So for parts of this video, I've found certain clips over on Plunder's video, and I will share that link with you where we can get it a little louder, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. But right after I press play, just listen and you'll hear him say, "Tell him I did it. Take me to jail." Just like that. Tell him I did it. Take me to jail. Wow. One more time. Unbelievable. So he seems pretty damn aware of what he's done. And you wait until I play for you what else he said. It is going to infuriate you from the soul. I'm telling you, it is just, oh. Okay, so the defendant is then transported to the sheriff's office to be interviewed. During the interview conducted by detectives Mike Ross, Mike Green, and Sean Schubert, the defendant makes various statements which illustrate his intent. When asked the name and ages of the children, the defendant names the kids in the order he murdered them. So we know that Clayton is 7, Hunter is 4, Chase is 3. But he names them Hunter, Clayton, Chase. And they're just noting that he does that. Now, I'll see if you guys can hear this, but this is one that I do have a better clip available. So let's just try from the file first.
How many children do you have? 4. What are their names?
Let me mute first.
Clayton, Chase, children do you have?
4.
What are their names?
Hunter, Clayton, Chase, and Alexis.
Hunter, Creighton, Chase, and Alexis. What do you say?
Clayton.
Creighton.
Hunter, Clayton, Chase, and Alexis. Now I'm going to play the better, a louder version of this in a moment.
Clayton.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was worried that I was saying that wrong.
Okay. So let's just continue and I'll show you the rest in a minute. So the defendant acknowledged that he couldn't sleep or work leading up to the murders because he knew what he was going to do. He also tells detectives that because Laura tried to stop him, he should have killed her first. And this is another one we are going to listen to in a different version so you can hear it better. But let me go ahead and play it from the file.
Do you remember your wife trying to stop you from shooting your children?
That's why you gotta do her first.
Do you remember your wife trying to stop you from shooting your children?
That's why you gotta do her first.
Do you remember your wife trying to stop you from shooting your children?
That's why you gotta do her first.
Okay. After his interview, the defendant is subsequently indicted by a grand jury. He was indicted on 21 counts, 9 counts of aggravated murder, 3 counts for each boy. Defenses: not guilty by reason of insanity. The defendant had a severe mental disease or defect, and the defendant did not know, as the result of a severe mental disease or defect, the wrongfulness of his actions. So in order for it to be NGRI, it has to be those 2 things. Also, there's another defense, which is serious mental illness. The person has been diagnosed with one of the following: bipolar, schizophrenia, delusional disorder, schizoaffective disorder. And at the time of the aggravated murder, they have been diagnosed significantly impaired to the person's capacity to exercise rational judgment in relation to conforming their conduct and appreciating consequences. Prior to June 15th of 2023, the defendant was never diagnosed, treated, or prescribed any medication for any mental health condition. The not guilty, there's a typo here, but the not guilty by reason of insanity findings. They have defense expert Dr. Robert Stinson and then the court's expert Emily Davis. Despite the defense's contention, the experts did not agree. Both doctors indicated it was likely the defendant suffered from a mood disorder at the time of the offenses. However, Dr. Davis opined that the defendant did not meet the criteria for NGRI. And this is what he said, quote, "With all information considered and reviewed, it is my opinion that despite the defendant experiencing some symptoms of severe mental disease, it is my opinion that he continued to know the wrongfulness of his behaviors in the offenses charged. Although some collateral records suggest a delusional thought process that served as motivation, there are also behaviors demonstrated by the defendant and commentary that he makes around the time of the offenses that indicates he continued to know the wrongfulness of his actions. Neither Dr. Stinson nor Dr. Davis were able to diagnose him with any specific mental health disease. During all evaluations and while incarcerated, all 3 doctors agreed that the defendant exhibited no acute mental health symptoms and received no mental health treatment or medication." So it wasn't like he was in this episode that needed intervention to come out of. The various statements made by the defendant are not considered consistent with someone in the throes of a delusion. After being unable to diagnose the defendant during the NGRI evaluation, Dr. Stinson subsequently issued a report as to his SMI opinion. Despite no additional testing or meetings with the defendant, Dr. Stinson opined that the defendant was bipolar at the time of the murders. He provided no explanation in his report as how he came to this conclusion, which was contrary to the required diagnostic criteria set forth in the DSM-5. Hey, Joneson. I'm doing all right. We're just trying to get through. It's tough information. So it's like, yeah, it's tough stuff, but happy to do it with you guys, instead of by myself the other night. Like, it was just, like I said, I was reading through this, recording it for you guys, and I just completely stopped and deleted it. But that included the 911 calls, and I think that it was meant to be that I don't put those out there. So I think everything happens for a reason. The court appointed Dr. Carla Dreyer to conduct a second evaluation of the defendant. Dr. Dreyer opined that the defendant, quote, did not suffer from a serious mental illness at the time of the offenses that significantly impaired his capacity to exercise rational judgment in relation to his conduct with respect to either conforming his conduct to the requirements of law or appreciating the nature, consequence, or wrongfulness of his conduct. With regard to the statutory criteria, records suggest the defendant has a history of controlling behaviors as well as poor frustration tolerance and chronic anger, likely related to his underlying personality structure. Now, this is so interesting to me. I would really love to know what these records are that suggest this. With regard to the statutory criteria, records suggest that the defendant has a history of controlling behaviors, poor frustration tolerance, and chronic anger, likely related to his underlying personality structure. And remember, you guys, a neighbor did come out and say that he was very angry, always yelling. Now, that doesn't necessarily line up with the statements made by Alexis, his stepdaughter, because she seemed to really love him a lot and think he was a great dad. But, I don't know. It's a lot to wrap your mind around. So Dr. Dreyer noted that the available information indicates that the defendant took multiple steps to kill his children, shooting his wife and threatening his stepdaughter in the process. He made statements to indicate he knew he was killing them. Mr. Doberman's careful execution of the murders, coupled with statements he made to law enforcement after they arrived on scene, indicated he appreciated the nature of what he did, as well as the wrongfulness and consequences of such. The defendant has made a variety of statements about whether or not he killed his sons, and occasionally why he committed the acts. Often these statements were in contradiction with one another. At times he denied being the shooter. So we're going to listen to this. There was rumors about that, Michelle. Oh, thank you, 1 hour dry floors. Okay, so we're going to listen, but like I said, we're going to listen a little louder in a moment, but I want to play it all in context before I kind of confuse you guys playing it out of context.
Did you shoot your son?
No,
Who did?
I don't remember.
Did you shoot your son?
No,
Who did?
I don't remember.
Did you shoot your son?
No,
Who did?
I don't remember.
So did you guys hear that? Did you shoot your son? He says no. Who did? I don't remember. Now, at times, the defendant claimed to remember nothing about the shooting, and at other times, he claimed to remember everything. So first, we're going to hear his interview, and then we're going to hear a call with his mother. Now, I'm going to warn you guys, the stuff he says to his family is infuriating. At one moment, he says, he's basically laughing like, I'm as bad as Hitler. And then At one point, I think it's his mom is like, you don't remember this, do you? And he's like, oh yeah, I do. It's unbelievable. So, okay, I'm going to mute and we're going to listen to both back to back so you won't hear from me, in between those.
What happened?
That's what I want to ask you. What happened today? I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't know what happened today. What happened? What happened?
That's what I want to ask you. What happened today? I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't know what happened today. What happened? What happened?
That's what I want to ask you. What happened today? I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't know what happened today. What happened?
She's grieving and she's suffering really bad.
No, I was going to call her.
You probably should not call her, Chad. I mean, your mother telling you this.
Oh, yeah. Should be right there.
You took away everything. And I know you don't remember it. And you know only what they tell you. But she remembers.
No, I remember everything.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Write down. I'm not talking about nothing. Because you said you didn't. I know you don't. You're lying.
No, I swear to God, I do. Yep. All the way to the point, and all the way to all the reasons why and everything.
Okay, so she says, you took away everything. She says, you don't remember it, do you? I'm going to play it again. But he says, nah, I remember everything. Like everything, even all the reasons why. Everything leading up to it, everything.
She's grieving and she's suffering really bad.
No, I was going to call her.
You probably should not call her, Chad. I mean, your mother telling you this.
Oh, yeah. Should be right there.
You took away everything. And I know you don't remember it. And you know only what they tell you. But she remembers.
No, I remember everything.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Write down. I'm not talking about nothing. Because you said you didn't. I know you don't. You're lying.
No, I swear to God, I do. Yep. All the way to the point, and all the way to all the reasons why and everything.
So she says something, it's hard for me to make it out, but she basically says, at first she says she's grieving and she's suffering really bad. You took away everything. I know you don't remember because you said you don't. And that's when he says, no, I do. But at one point she says something like, you shouldn't call her or something like that. It's hard for me to make out. I'm going to play that one more time and then we'll go to the next one.
She's grieving and she's suffering really bad.
No, I was going to call her.
You probably should not call her, Chad. I mean, your mother telling you this.
Oh, yeah. Should be right there.
You took away everything. And I know you don't remember it. And you know only what they tell you. But she remembers.
No, I remember everything.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Write down. I'm not talking about nothing. Because you said you didn't. I know you don't. You're lying.
No, I swear to God, I do. Yep. All the way to the point, and all the way to all the reasons why and everything.
So I think she says you shouldn't have called her. She's grieving and struggling really bad. You took away everything, Chad. I know you don't remember because you said you don't, which as a mom, I guess that could be a coping mechanism for her as well. Like I saw many of you guys in the chat say, if you hurt my children or my grandchildren, you'll find me on YouTube True Crime, or I'm never speaking to you again. Destin says, it's just so barbaric. I can't imagine how much mental help Laura needs. Oh my God, does he know why he did what he did? What in the world? I've never heard this. Thank you, Allie, for bringing this horrific case to us all. Well, thank you for being here. And so this stuff was just put out the other day. If you guys are coming in late, it comes from the press conference that the prosecutor's office did after he took the plea deal. I just requested any information they would give, and they sent the presentation. So we're just flipping through what's already been shown at the press conference. It's just at the press conference, you couldn't hear these audios and stuff. So it is a little different to have it, like this. God almighty, though. No, you shouldn't call her. I mean, can you? I feel so bad for Laura and Alexis. I hope and pray that they're able to get the help they need. I hope people respect their wishes. They ask, please nobody be reaching out to us, digging into our lives and all that stuff. Let them grieve. Let them, if they can find one moment of peace, which I'm pretty much convinced that they can't. But if they can, they deserve it. So now we're to the recorded jail calls. While incarcerated, the defendant continued to make various statements concerning his actions. These statements were recorded and were available for all three doctors to review. June 27th, 2023, the defendant's jail visit with his parents and brother. Now, one of these is the Hitler visit. Again, I'm going to mute because the frogs and stuff are so loud. I want you guys to be able to hear. If we can't hear, I do have a place where we can hear it a little better if that's necessary. So you guys just let me know. I hope people respect their wishes. Me too. Absolutely. Me too. Yes, do not contact the survivors. They need time to process and heal. They don't need to be on your YouTube channel, on the next interview, whatever, Can you, let me just show you guys again. This is what I was thinking about earlier. If you guys have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, whatever, look at these beautiful boys and tell me, how much joy they would have brought to their mom's life. How much, oh my God, to their sister's life. And now it's all taken away. So you're given this beautiful blessing. I mean, I cannot imagine. It's one of my worst fears, something happening to one of my kids. All three of your babies. And it's right in front of you. There's nothing you can do. Laura's fighting him every step of the way, getting shot, slamming his hand in the safe. And there's nothing that she can do. I just cannot imagine the depression that you would go into after that. And I know you'd have to go on for your other child. But if you just see their beautiful faces and the smiles, they're always smiling and laughing. And you can just imagine what that would have been like to experience life with those boys. They're precious. And kids bring, for me, I don't know. Kids are it's just love. I don't even know how to explain it besides that. Love. Whether it's your kids or somebody else's, the most innocent, precious, loving little people. And I just can't imagine the void that you must have after that, after being blessed to experience life with them, so, all right. So now we're going to listen to these calls. I'm just going to mute. and play them through, and then we'll talk after.
Oh, the psychiatrist. Oh. The psychiatrist wanted me to talk to him. And I wouldn't talk to him. And then the captain came and seen me and was all pissed off because I wouldn't talk to the psychiatrist.
Were you sure that was?
No, because I already talked to her and she moved me down to a level 1 and I was supposed to get clothes on. She said he's not a threat to himself. Moved me down to a level 1, told all the cops I was supposed to have clothes on. Well, guess what? I didn't get my clothes on. The next couple of days, they was like, you want to go talk to the psychiatrist? Fuck no. What was that going to do? I'm going to be sitting in this dress tomorrow. It ain't doing me no good. Why am I going to go talk to her? She looked at me and she goes, do you feel bad for what you did? No. And she's just like, okay. And then that was it. That was the end of the conversation. And then she looked at everybody and said, he's not a threat to himself.
So he's talking about the jail and them putting him on like a self-harm watch, and him being a threat to himself. And he says there, I don't know if you heard, but he says, do you feel bad? She asked me, do you feel bad for what you did? No. And the way he's like, the way he's speaking, like I can just picture him being angry. He seems like one of those wiry little, I don't know, just like mean. Hey, Angie. All right, let me play that one again and we'll go to the next one. But if you'll hear him say, do you feel bad for what you did? And then he goes, no. Just like that.
Oh, the psychiatrist. Oh. The psychiatrist wanted me to talk to him. And I wouldn't talk to him. And then the captain came and seen me and was all pissed off because I wouldn't talk to the psychiatrist.
Were you sure that was?
No, because I already talked to her and she moved me down to a level 1 and I was supposed to get clothes on. She said he's not a threat to himself. Moved me down to a level 1, told all the cops I was supposed to have clothes on. Well, guess what? I didn't get my clothes on. The next couple of days, they was like, you want to go talk to the psychiatrist? Fuck no. What was that going to do? I'm going to be sitting in this dress tomorrow. It ain't doing me no good. Why am I going to go talk to her? She looked at me and she goes, do you feel bad for what you did? No. And she's just like, okay. And then that was it. That was the end of the conversation. And then she looked at everybody and said, he's not a threat to himself.
I couldn't be more thrilled to know that his ass is going to spend the rest of his life in prison. The fact that he so boldly talks about what he's done and how freaking proud he is. I am just so freaking glad that he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. Now, the next one, prepare yourselves, because this is like fire coming out of the ears angry, because he compares himself to Hitler and he makes a joke about how he's just like, basically, in my words, just as evil as Hitler, or like on the same level as Hitler.
But if it's big and fresh, then, you know what I mean? He said in New Zealand. That's fucking awesome. Hey, they thought Hitler was big, dude. Fuck yeah, I'm matching him.
They thought Hitler was a bad dude or whatever. I'm matching him. What? Oh my God. I agree. Mystery says, in my opinion, he should get the death penalty for what he did. And I'm with you there. And, you know, I do think that life in prison would be more torturous. The only reason why I'm glad he didn't is because that's what Laura and Alexis wanted. They wanted, and I'll pull that up again. We're almost at the end of this, and I'll pull up again what they had to say, because it is important, because it changed my perspective a little bit.
But if it's big and fresh, then, you know what I mean? He said in New Zealand. That's fucking awesome. Hey, they thought Hitler was big, dude. Fuck yeah, I'm matching him.
Oh my God. That one is his brother, Kimberly, and there's another like a longer version of that. I think it is. I'll play for you in just 1 second. We're pretty much at the end of this. So he pled guilty to 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of felonious assault. He's gotten life without parole and 8 to 12 years for each count of the felonious assault. A message from the community to the community from Laura. No one knew the defendant could have imagined the person they knew before June 15th, 2023, committing these acts. If you're struggling with thoughts of self-harm or with thoughts of harming others, or if you know anyone who is, please reach out. You will not be judged. Help is available to you. Call 988 or go to your nearest hospital. Violence is never the solution. Okay, so now I'm going to take you guys for a moment to see what Laura had to say. And then I'm going to share a video with you where you can hear the recordings of his calls and stuff a little better. Let me just... So she said, "Good afternoon. My name is Laura Doerman, and I am the mother of Alexis, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase. On June 15th, 2023, my children and I went through a nightmare that most people cannot even begin to imagine. We grieve every day for my boys, and we miss them so much." I understand that the plea and sentencing today may have come as a surprise to some people, and that many people still have questions about what happened to Clayton, Hunter, and Chase. I know the prosecutor's office will be answering some of those questions at the press conference on Monday, and that is where this slideshow came from, that press conference. She says, "I am in full agreement with how the criminal case was resolved, and the decision to end this criminal case with a plea and multiple life sentences brings some finality to the court case for my daughter and me. No punishment will ever bring my boys back. Having a guarantee that he will spend the rest of his life behind bars is what is best for my family. I would like to thank the Claremont County Sheriff's Office for all of their work on this case, especially Detectives Mike Ross and Sean Schubert. I'd like to thank all of the first responding officers and firefighters, paramedics who were there that day and did what they could for my boys and my family. Finally, I'd like to thank the prosecution team for their support and assistance through the court process. I have 2 requests from everyone here and everyone watching this. First, please respect my family's privacy. We do not want media or individuals to try to contact us about this case. My daughter and I are real people who have to wake up every day and try to go on with our lives after losing the boys. We may just be a news story to you, but this is our reality. If you have any questions, please direct them to the prosecutor's office. My second request is for everyone to remember and to talk about Clayton, Hunter, and Chase for who they were before the events of June 15th, 2023. Remember them as the 3 little boys who loved fishing, go-karting, and swimming. Remember them as the little boys who were always at the baseball fields or running around outside. Remember them as the boys who loved to have fun and were inseparable from one another. Their lives are not only about what happened to them, they are so much more than that. I love you, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase." So that is like what kind of changed my mind about his, the plea. So Jaded, that is not her impact statement. The impact statement, I think that, let me see something just quickly. I have a playlist for this case. Yes, and I played, okay, if you go back on my playlist, which actually I'm going to drop it in the chat, the last video from 1 week ago today, we go through the impact statements and stuff, and if you haven't heard them, they are very interesting because it shows us a different side. Hey, Hilson House of Crazy. You know, Alexis talks about how she loves Chad and misses him so much, and how he was a great dad, and how every time she plays ball, she thinks about him, and every time she does something awesome, she can't wait to tell him because she thinks about how she would usually tell him, and she wants to tell him, and she remembers how proud he would be of her, and he has like a physical reaction to what she's saying. So it is definitely worth checking out. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to show you guys before I'll let you go, Plunder's video. So I'm going to share the link, and I just had 2 timestamps I wanted to show you where I felt like the audio.
How many children do you have?
Louder. See how much louder it is than on the PowerPoint? So this video is about to be dropped in the chat. But I need to get my ish together. But I just want to play 2 little parts for you, and then I'm going to let you guys go. Okay, so the beginning, and then at around 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And the whole video is good. I do recommend checking it out. It basically goes through all the information we just went through. She was also, I saw that she received the presentation as well through email, like with the media request. Okay.
How many children do you have?
4.
What are their names?
Hunter, Clayton, Chase, and Alexis.
And, you know, this is heavy on you, and it's something that you couldn't sleep because you knew that it was coming and it was building.
Yeah.
And that's why you couldn't work today. You knew it had to be done, and you came home. Do you remember your wife trying to stop you from shooting your children?
That's why you gotta do her first.
So yes, that
He does have a chew in, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go to this timestamp and just hear this part, and then look at them smiling at the Christmas tree, or at Christmas. I mean, oh my God, you guys, it just... Shauna, I don't think she's doing a live tonight. I know she had some things she was doing on her Patreon, and then a video she was editing, I believe. Okay, let's hear this part.
oh, like that's effing awesome, dude. Kind of like he's internationally known for evil.
Do you feel bad for what you did? No. He said in New Zealand. That's fucking awesome. Hey, they thought Hitler was big, dude. Fuck yeah, I'm matching him.
This guy, and it shows.
So those are just the clips, like I said, that were a little louder on her video. I'm going to drop her link one more time. And yeah, you guys, thank you for being here. I know that this was a tough one. It's really hard. But, you know, I think that it's important. There's a lot of awful shit that goes on in this world. And there's a lot of people just talking about the same story or two, the same case or two, or, you know, event or two. And I think that it's important to talk honestly about these things when they happen, and try to talk about more of them that aren't being on every single YouTube channel. Like, just for instance, we've talked about this with Sebastian's case. I'm so glad he's gotten the attention he's gotten. He deserves that. Every missing child. I'm so glad that so many people truly seem to care that Summer Wells still has not been found. That baby, by the way, missing date is the same as the date this happened, June the 15th, just 2 years prior to. Summer Wells is still missing. I need to put a missing flyer for her in my overlays so I can show it. But, you know, I'm so glad that so many people do truly seem to care. But there are so many others that are missing that never get covered. There is a horrific case of child abuse that was sent to me by a couple of you guys. Tess sent it to me, some of you an email, and we might talk about that soon. A 6-year-old boy. Oh God, it's just, there's some awful shit that happens out there, and I do think it's important to talk about. I know that they're tough conversations to have, so thank you guys for being here and having it with me. I appreciate it. Yeah, to pat yourself on the back and laugh and compare yourself to Hitler. Exactly. So let me drop her video just one more time so you guys can check it out, and then check out my playlist on it. There's a ton of information there. And the early days of this case, I was requesting as much as I could from Claremont County, and we were getting body cam, some body cam footage that really wasn't circulated that much. You saw certain videos a lot, but there's some that weren't. Body cam footage of him being booked in the jail where he's slamming his head up against the wall. I mean, oh my God. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I just tonight send a little extra love, good vibes, prayer, whatever you call it, to Laura and Alexis, because I truly don't know how they even go to sleep at night. And nothing they did, of course, but just with everything they've been through. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you to the mods. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Thank you to the chat. You guys keep it so respectful, and thank you for understanding that I didn't want to play the 911 calls. It was really just a decision I made on the fly. I had considered playing the first half because the prosecutor did play it in his presentation during the press conference. But, you can always go there and listen to that. And, yeah, just thank you guys. Monday, I love you and so happy to see you, and thank you for being here, and thank all you guys. So Bendy, I don't think is doing a live tonight. If I see anybody on, I'll share it. I love you back, Trulia. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the chat. Go check out the channels that I've dropped. There's some awesome channels in here and awesome companies like Nays Wax Melts. ATS News, Jonesin, they came in. Go check out their channels. I think that you guys will like them. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for everything. And I'm going to end it because if I don't, I know I'm going to say goodbye for like 30 more minutes. And I ain't sitting here for that long. And y'all don't want to either. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you. Bye.